Have you ever wondered why, after turning 65, every night feels like a battle for sleep? Waking up multiple times isn't just a nuisance. It could be your prostate sending out silent warning signals. The truth is, it's not always about age. Often, it's the very habits that seem harmless each night that quietly enlarge the prostate and rob you of deep, restorative sleep. And now, we're going to uncover the 6 hidden nighttime habits behind this problem. Watch until the end. You may realize one of them is happening in your own life right now. Number 1. Drinking water. Too late in the evening. Increases pressure on the prostate and disrupts. Sleep hydration is a cornerstone of health at any age, but for men over 60, when and how much fluid is consumed can make a dramatic difference in prostate comfort and nighttime sleep quality. The aging prostate, which naturally enlarges in over 50% of men by age 60 and nearly 90% by age 85, according to the National Institutes of Health, begins to narrow the urethra and interfere with bladder emptying. When large volumes of water are consumed after dinner, especially 16 to 20 ounces within 2 hours of bedtime, the bladder fills just as the body should be preparing for rest. Instead of settling into deep sleep, the brain is forced to respond to bladder signals, resulting in disrupted sleep cycles and additional strain on the lower urinary tract. This seemingly small habit creates a larger ripple effect. Chronic sleep disruption is linked to increased inflammation throughout the body. A study from the University of California, Berkeley, showed that adults who experienced fragmented sleep for just 1 week had a 30% spike in inflammatory markers. That inflammation doesn't skip over the prostate. It feeds into a cycle of swelling, pressure, and persistent discomfort. Consider George, a 76-year-old veteran from Georgia who had always believed staying well hydrated into the evening was essential for flushing out toxins. But he was waking up 4 to 5 times a night, frustrated and exhausted. After a simple change, drinking 10 to 12 ounces of water with breakfast, another 10 ounces at lunch, and limiting fluids to small sips after 6:30 p.m., his sleep improved dramatically. Within 2 weeks, he was waking up just once per night and felt more rested than he had in years. Leading institutions, such as the Mayo Clinic and the European Association of Urology, now encourage structured hydration as a first step in managing benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, symptoms. Their clinical guidelines support early-day fluid intake and reduced evening consumption to support natural bladder emptying and uninterrupted rest. To support prostate health and improve sleep, take these steps today. Start your morning with a full glass of water and continue hydrating consistently throughout lunch and the early afternoon. Aim to taper off fluid intake after 6 o'clock p.m. Replace nighttime drinks with herbal sips if needed, and avoid caffeine or alcohol after dinner. Before bed, visit the restroom even if you don't feel a strong urge. This allows the bladder and prostate to rest fully overnight. These small intentional shifts provide your body with the rhythm and space it needs to heal, restore, and maintain its quality of life. Number 2. Blue light exposure. Before bedtime. Disrupts deep sleep and fuels prostate inflammation. In the quiet of the evening, the glow of a television, tablet, or phone often becomes a familiar companion. However, that soft blue light, so common in modern homes, is silently interfering with one of the body's most potent healing forces, restorative sleep. For men over 60, this disruption doesn't just mean restlessness. It sets off a chain reaction deep inside the body, particularly in the prostate, where inflammation and tension silently grow. Blue light, emitted by LED screens and modern bulbs, suppresses melatonin production by signaling to the brain that it is still daytime. Melatonin isn't merely a sleep hormone. It's a natural anti-inflammatory, a regulator of immune response, and a protector of cellular health. In aging men, whose melatonin levels have already declined by up to 50% compared to youth, the added suppression caused by nighttime screen use becomes a dangerous accelerant. According to Harvard Medical School, just 2 hours of evening screen time can delay melatonin release by over 90 minutes, reducing total REM sleep and delaying the deep stage of sleep when the prostate and urinary system are meant to recover. Sleep fragmentation caused by light exposure contributes to a pattern of nighttime urination, pelvic muscle tension, and a lingering sensation of fullness in the lower abdomen come morning. The American Urological Association confirms that disrupted sleep, particularly when combined with existing benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, increases systemic inflammation and slows healing in the urinary tract. In a clinical observation conducted at the Cleveland Clinic, men aged 65 to 78 who reduced screen use 1 hour before bed and replaced it with reading under amber lighting reported significant improvement within 2 weeks. Not only did they wake less frequently to urinate, but they also described reduced pressure in the pelvic region and a more effortless flow in the morning. The slight shift in lighting created a powerful biological ripple. The European Sleep Research Society recommends a digital dusk, a transition period in the evening where bright lights are dimmed and screens are silenced. This allows the pineal gland to resume melatonin secretion naturally and at the correct time. Supplementing with amber light, adding blackout curtains, and removing bedroom electronics support this environment. Blue light blocking glasses, now available over the counter, have been shown in studies at the University of Manchester to enhance sleep efficiency and reduce nocturnal inflammation markers in individuals aged 60 and above. This isn't just about better sleep, it's about giving the body space to repair. The prostate, often overlooked until it causes pain or urgency, responds powerfully to rest. A screen-free hour before bed can become a sanctuary for healing. Consider replacing late-night TV with soothing music, meditation, or writing down 3 things for which you are grateful. Allow the body to enter a state of stillness with minimal interference. In that quiet space, melatonin rises, muscles soften, and the prostate is finally given the chance to breathe, to reset, to heal. Number 3. Holding in urine at night increases bladder pressure and fuels. Prostate irritation. One of the most overlooked yet dangerous habits for men over 60 is holding in urine during the night. While it may seem harmless or even disciplined to wait until morning, especially when the urge feels mild, this choice quietly builds pressure in the bladder, aggravates the prostate, and sets the stage for long-term dysfunction. Consider the case of Thomas, a 73-year-old former postal worker from Illinois. For years, he prided himself on not getting up at night, believing that by resisting the urge to urinate, he was strengthening his bladder. What he didn't realize was that each night, as his bladder stretched beyond comfort, he was creating a cascade of tension across the lower urinary tract. Over time, Thomas began waking with a heavy sensation in his lower abdomen, incomplete emptying, and eventually frequent urinary tract infections. His experience is not unique. The bladder is a muscular sac designed to stretch, but not indefinitely. When full urine is held for prolonged periods, especially during sleep, the bladder walls begin to thin and lose elasticity. More importantly, the pressure from the full bladder pushes against the prostate, which is already enlarged in many men over 60. According to a study published in the Journal of Urology, chronic overdistension of the bladder increases intravesical pressure, which leads to local inflammation and a higher susceptibility to infection. This strain compounds when combined with age-related prostate growth, creating a toxic cycle of discomfort, inflammation, and urinary difficulty. What begins as a decision to stay comfortable in bed becomes, night after night, a habit that weakens the bladder's strength and irritates the prostate. As the bladder loses its natural tone, it struggles to empty, even when the man finally gets up to urinate. Residual urine remains, and in this stagnant environment, bacteria can multiply, increasing the risk of infection and chronic irritation. The American Urological Association highlights this residual volume as a key marker of worsening prostate symptoms and poor bladder health in aging men. Modern urology now emphasizes the importance of responding to urinary signals, even at night. The bladder and prostate function best when cycles of filling and releasing are respected. In clinical trials, men who followed a no-hesitation rule, getting up as soon as the urge arose, reported less pressure, more complete emptying, and fewer nighttime interruptions over time. European guidelines from the EAU, European Association of Urology, also stress that delaying urination during the night can worsen lower urinary tract symptoms and is counterproductive to healthy aging. Simple changes can make a profound difference. Keep a clear path to the bathroom at night to remove hesitation. Install soft night lighting to reduce the risk of tripping, and place warm slippers nearby to make rising easier. Empty your bladder fully before bed, regardless of the level of urge, to reduce overnight accumulation. Avoid caffeine and alcohol in the evening, as both are bladder irritants and diuretics. Listening to the body's natural signals, rather than ignoring them, honors the delicate systems that work tirelessly through the night. Letting go of the habit of holding in urine is not a sign of weakness. It's a wise and protective act, one that defends the prostate, protects the bladder, and restores the natural rhythm of rest and recovery. Number 4. Optimizing sleep position to relieve pelvic pressure and promote prostate recovery. Every night, the body enters a remarkable phase of restoration. Organs repair, muscles relax, and inflammatory processes quiet down if given the right conditions. For men over 60, one often ignored but profoundly influential condition is sleep posture. While it may feel comforting to fall asleep face down or twisted in an old habit, the way the body is positioned for hours can either nurture healing or unknowingly aggravate the prostate. The prostate lies just below the bladder and in front of the rectum, tucked within a sensitive network of nerves, blood vessels, and pelvic muscles. As men age and the prostate begins to enlarge, this space becomes more vulnerable to compression and congestion. Sleeping on the stomach may seem harmless, but over time, it directs the body's weight onto the lower abdomen, increasing pelvic pressure and restricting circulation to the prostate. This compromises the gentle drainage process that the urinary system relies on during the night, contributing to stiffness, increased urgency, and morning discomfort. A 2022 review published in Nature and Science of Sleep examined sleep posture's effects on organ function and vascular flow, revealing that side sleeping, particularly on the left, promotes better circulation to the pelvic and abdominal regions. This position allows the internal organs to rest more freely, reduces gravitational strain on the bladder, and encourages lymphatic drainage, all of which support prostate relief. The story of Henry, a 70-year-old retired mechanic from South Carolina, illustrates this perfectly. For decades, he had slept on his stomach with one arm under the pillow and a leg bent, a pose he thought helped his back. But he regularly woke with lower belly pressure and made 3 to 4 trips to the bathroom each night. After learning about sleep positioning and adjusting with a firm pillow to support side sleeping, his sleep improved dramatically. Within 2 weeks, he was waking only once to urinate and described his mornings as lighter, steadier, and more at ease. Guidance from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine now includes ergonomic sleep strategies as part of managing chronic nocturia and pelvic tension. Sleep professionals recommend sleeping on the side with a pillow between the knees to align the hips and relieve pressure on the lumbar spine. Additionally, using a wedge or small pillow to elevate the legs slightly can help reduce the downward force on the pelvic organs and improve blood flow. Optimizing sleep position requires intention, but not complication. Begin by experimenting with different pillow placements. Choose a medium-firm mattress that supports spinal alignment without sagging into the hips. If side sleeping feels unfamiliar, start with 15 to 30 minutes of rest in that position during a daytime nap. The body quickly adapts to comfort when healing becomes a routine part of life. Proper rest doesn't happen just because the eyes close. It occurs when the body is positioned to release tension, breathe fully, and circulate freely. Giving the prostate space each night is not only preventive, it is restorative. Reclaiming deep sleep with mindful posture can be one of the most powerful and underestimated tools for longevity and daily vitality. Number 5. Releasing emotional tension at night to support prostate and whole body healing. Hidden behind many physical symptoms in men over 60 is a quieter, deeper cause: chronic emotional tension. While prostate discomfort and nighttime urination are often addressed through diet, hydration, or posture, a crucial piece of the healing process is usually missed: the nervous system's ability to let go. Stress, even when unspoken, has a profound effect on the pelvic region, sleep patterns, and hormonal balance. The prostate does not operate in isolation. It is intricately connected to the body's stress response system. When the brain perceives worry, uncertainty, or unresolved fear, common in later life stages, the pelvic floor muscles can contract subtly, holding tension like a clenched fist. Over time, this tightness becomes habitual. The result is not just a feeling of physical pressure, but also increased urinary urgency, incomplete emptying, and restless sleep. Chronic stress raises cortisol levels, which in turn elevate inflammation throughout the body. A 2021 study in psychoneuroendocrinology found that men with higher perceived stress reported significantly worse lower urinary tract symptoms, even when no physical changes in the prostate were present. This suggests that what the mind holds, the body expresses, especially in sensitive areas, such as the pelvis. But the body also knows how to release. When guided gently, it responds. One of the most effective techniques is diaphragmatic breathing, slow, deep breaths that engage the lower lungs and send calming signals to the nervous system. Just 5 minutes of focused breathing before bed has been shown by the Cleveland Clinic to reduce nighttime awakenings and ease pelvic tension. Another tool is expressive journaling. Writing down 3 worries and 3 gratitudes each night helps the mind sort, name, and soften its burdens. Studies from the University of Texas show that consistent expressive writing reduces both physical symptoms and markers of inflammation. Music also plays a decisive role. Listening to slow, instrumental music, particularly at a rate of 60 to 70 beats per minute, can help synchronize the heart rate, lower blood pressure, and signal safety to the brain. This shift enables the pelvic region to relax, promoting deeper sleep and alleviating urinary urgency. Progressive muscle relaxation is another proven method. Beginning at the toes and gently tightening and releasing each muscle group, this technique guides attention through the body, dissolving hidden layers of tension. Within minutes, the lower belly softens and breathing deepens, a sign that the body is ready to heal. These practices are neither complicated nor require medication or equipment. They ask only for presence, intention, and repetition. Begin with 5 minutes before bed. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, write a sentence or two, listen to calming sounds. This becomes not just a routine, but a message to the body. You are safe. You can rest. You are not alone. Letting go of emotional weight each night gives the body the space to heal, especially in areas that have been long overlooked. The prostate not only responds to what is consumed, but also to how one lives their life. Release the tension, and in its place, the body will remember ease. Number 6. Ending the day with a final trip to the bathroom. Supports prostate health and restorative sleep. Every evening at exactly 9:15 p.m., Harold, a 72-year-old former Navy officer from coastal Maine, would make his final round of the house. He'd check the doors, dim the lights, sip the last bit of warm chamomile tea, and without fail, head to the bathroom, whether he felt the need or not. To Harold, this wasn't just habit. It was part of a quiet discipline, a lifelong respect for his body's rhythms. He used to joke, "I don't ask my bladder if it's ready. I tell it gently, we're done for the day." What Harold didn't realize was that his simple nighttime routine was protecting his prostate more than most supplements or treatments could. While many men went to bed with a partially full bladder, hoping to sleep through the night, Harold's deliberate release allowed his urinary system to rest. He rarely woke more than once at night, and at his age, that's a quiet triumph. From a physiological standpoint, Harold was doing precisely what the body hopes for in its final moments of wakefulness. An empty bladder reduces internal pressure, giving the prostate space to settle and minimizing nerve stimulation that triggers overnight urgency. For men with benign prostatic hyperplasia, where the urethra is already narrowed, even a small amount of urine can create discomfort and interrupted sleep. Releasing that volume before bed is like lowering the tension in a tightrope. It makes the entire system more stable and calm. A study published in BJU International found that a consistent pre-sleep urination habit reduced nocturia episodes by nearly 35% in men aged 65 and older. This benefit was amplified when paired with reduced evening fluid intake and a structured bedtime wind-down. Simply put, emptying the bladder before bed isn't just a practical act, it's a message to the nervous system. Now, it's time to rest. Clinical guidelines from the American Urological Association and European Association of Urology both recommend final voiding as part of first-line behavioral therapy for nighttime urinary symptoms. It's a low-cost, low-risk, and profoundly effective habit, yet often forgotten in the rush of the modern evening. Establishing this habit can begin gently, incorporated into an existing ritual, after brushing teeth, before turning down the bed, or just before reading. If the urge isn't strong, don't wait. The act itself can stimulate a minor release, enough to make a difference overnight. Combined with reduced evening fluids, a calm environment, and perhaps a few minutes of slow breathing, this final visit becomes part of the body's language of closure. What Harold knew instinctively, science now confirms. The small rituals matter, and in later years, they matter even more. By ending the day with a quiet moment of release, the body receives permission to let go, not just physically, but emotionally. It is a signal of completion, a gift to the prostate, and a doorway to deeper sleep, lighter mornings, and better health. Life after 65 doesn't have to be defined by restless nights, constant trips to the bathroom, or the quiet frustration of feeling worn down. Too often, men accept these struggles as just part of aging. But the truth is, they're not signs of weakness. They're signals. Gentle reminders from the body that it needs care, attention, and respect. The 6 habits we explored together are more than medical insights. They are everyday choices that shape the quality of our nights and the strength of our days. Drinking water at the right time, stepping away from screens before bed, releasing what the body asks to release, choosing a healthier sleep position, letting go of emotional tension, and making one final trip to the bathroom before rest. These may seem small, yet when practiced consistently, they create profound change. Healing, as we've seen in the stories of George, Thomas, Harold, and so many others, is not about grand gestures. It's about simple, steady acts of self-care. A shift in routine, a moment of awareness, a willingness to listen when the body whispers instead of waiting until it shouts. Think of it this way. Your body has carried you through decades of work, family, victories, and challenges. It deserves your partnership now more than ever. When you choose to honor its needs each night, you give it the gift of recovery. You allow your prostate to rest, your bladder to heal, your mind to release its burdens, and your spirit to welcome peace. That is not weakness. It is wisdom. The real power lies in your hands. You don't have to wait for a prescription or a clinic visit to take the first step. You can start tonight by sipping water earlier in the day, dimming the lights before bed, or simply pausing to breathe deeply and let go. Small steps add up. And the reward is a body that wakes lighter, mornings that feel brighter, and days filled with more energy and clarity. So here's the lesson to carry forward. Listen when your body sends signals, no matter how subtle. Respect your rhythms, protect your sleep, and never underestimate the power of simple, intentional choices. Because when you do, you don't just protect your prostate, you reclaim your nights, your strength, and your peace of mind. And now, I want to turn this over to you. If something in this video spoke to you, if a story reminded you of your own, or if a habit made you stop and think, share it in the comments. Your experience, your reflections, might be exactly what another man needs to hear tonight. And if this message brought you value, don't forget to hit subscribe and become part of this growing community. Every week, we bring you stories, science, and practical steps to help you live longer, stronger, and more at peace with yourself.